Besties, I come to you in what Mama Busy has dubbed the rant blanket for what is, I guess she's Mama Hobby Lobby now. Take up the rebranding with Ms. Booked and Busy, if that's even her name these days. But not only have I stumbled into the slop factory, I fear that I am locked in to the slop factory. And I am entirely unprepared to deal with this. So first, we're going to talk about Twisted Games. The fact that this title is plural, I don't like. Because every time I say Twisted Games, in my head, I'm like, there's no way the book is called Games. It has to be Game. But no, it's Twisted Games. I hated every second that I spent reading this. Part of this has to be the TikTok conversation that I haven't even participated in, let alone look too deeply at, outside of the marquee, dual POV is horrible. Everyone is talking about how much they want to fuck their love interest, and just to give me single POV romance is superior. And as I was reading this, Reese Larson is a horrible person. He's not even a horrible person in a way that is like interesting or fun to read about, because besties, I recently, starting in August, as we documented the end of it here, I went down the Michael Connelly rabbit hole. Okay. I read 31 books, I think, between the Lincoln Lawyer and the mainline Bosch, and I guess even more. I guess it was actually like 40 some odd books. 40 includes Void Moon, Chasing the Dime. We have to exclude those. So yeah, 30 some odd books, right? Featuring Hieronymus Bosch, although I guess some of those Ballard and Bosch novels didn't really feature him the way that the title or the subtitle, the series title would lead you to believe. Anyway, multiple books, right? Featuring Hieronymus Bosch and Mickey Holler. And Mickey Holler in particular, because you didn't get to see me talk about Mickey Holler over here on the YouTube in a way that the patrons over on Patreon did. But I hate that man. And at times I hated Hieronymus Bosch. And so I can hate a character and I can be having a silly fun time reading the series, okay? Like, likability is a factor in me having a good time, but it is not the only factor. But Reese Larson, and I'm convinced it has to be just the name at this point, because it wasn't until I Googled that I learned that it's, spelled, what is it, like the Gaelic way with the H and the Y, like, ooh, look at you, you're so fancy. But I should have known in my spirit just by how annoyed I was at this man. He is disgusting. Like, at the first, 25% of the book, he's already threatening to rape his love interest, which I think is crazy. Like, at first, they're having a silly little that was the first straw. That was the first straw, and it was the last straw for Monty, because it only takes one time. But when you're having this little, heated exchange with your love interest, talking about how you want to pound them hard and fast, I'm like, okay, not for Monty, not for me, at the 25% mark, but, who am I to judge? I did read Our Vicious Oaths, and they was going to Pound Town throughout the book. The book was just Pound Town. So at this point, I can no longer be the prude that I once was. I was like, okay, I guess we're doing it this way. But okay. But as soon as you slip in the, whether you like it or not, the whether you say yes or not, I'm out. I'm tapping out. That's the line, besties. That is the line that we have crossed it. We have gone to the other side, to the side that I do not want to be. I don't want to be there, Mr. Reese Larson. I don't care that she thinks you're cute. Not for me, not for Monty. Not, sorry, we are out of here. And for the rest of the book, it is continued to give rapey, raperson vibes. Like, I'm sorry, there is nothing hot or sexy about this man at all. And I do want to say this. You can tell that this was written on Kindle Unlimited. You can tell that we were writing just to write. And I think it took the book a little bit too long to find what it wanted to do. And I think that, honestly, there were a couple of opportunities, I think, for this book to really do something and be a better book. The first opportunity was, I don't know if we can necessarily get rid of the entirety of the recap at the beginning. I think the recap went a little bit too long. There were too many scenes in the recap, and there was too much time with her in this college era of her life, when the book is mostly focused on her post-college exploits and the adventure that she lines up on. I think that I would have cut the scene where he built the little, the music festival in her apartment. I would have got rid of that entirely. It was cute. It was fun. I would have started the really, I would have kept the introduction as like the preview, because as much as you want to say that you can read this as a standalone, I think that most people did read Twisted Love, and I think that reading Twisted Love is just better for you to get the initial impression. But I would have kept the prologue where it was their introduction in the driveway, and I would have jumped in the first chapter to the preamble to finding out that her brother Nikolai is going to abdicate. So she is second to the line of her small European principality's throne, and her older brother is first in line. I want to say twin brother, but that's probably wrong and incorrect. But he was first in line. And so he abdicates at some point in this narrative. And so the narrative quickly becomes her like going on this little party girl lifestyle. And then they have a bonding moment in Costa Rica. I would have expanded on that a little bit. And then I would have expanded about her time in Eldora. The amount of time this book covers is like close. It feels like close to a decade. I know that it's not. It's probably closer to like 5 years and not 10. But still, like, and then so much time passes, and all of it is fleeting, and almost all of it is entirely meaningless from Reese's perspective. Like, it is just, I'm sorry, like, we definitely included his perspective for what Anna Wong. Like, it added nothing. It added nothing but making me like shrivel inside myself. Like, I'm sorry. I think that we can have rough sex and, you know, a lot of bantery, dirty talk, and not have it give rape vibes. And a lot of Reese's dialogue just was giving rape vibes. It just was. I also don't really know. I think there were some unnecessary complications, like what we were going to get out of this. And even though her brother, Nikolai, is like okay with how things ended up, and she's also okay because, again, like her brother abdicates in part because he wants to marry a commoner. Her, as we know, her love interest is her bodyguard, who is also a commoner. And so at some point in the narrative, we get introduced to this idea that maybe he's not a commoner, and like maybe there's more to his parentage than meets the eye. But almost as soon as we get that information, we also learn that even if that were true, it wouldn't even matter necessarily, because there's still this like outdated, silly little law that's going to keep them apart anyway. And so it has to become this whole like political espionage storyline about her trying to whip votes in parliament. And it just didn't click. I would have kept that he is maybe a royal person, or I would have kept that I would have just gotten rid of the law entirely, because I think it was a little bit silly. Like, it was a silly little third act moment, and I don't think it really added anything to the narrative, to be honest with you. And I say it didn't add anything to the narrative. The narrative needed it because it served as one of the only points of conflict. The book doesn't have a lot of conflict in it. For, you know, a book called Twisted Games, there's not even a lot of games being played. It didn't work. It didn't work. And so this definitely 100% reads like it was, the execution of this reads as though it was written for somebody who was getting paid on page count and as a traditionally published book. What is so crazy is like it was picked up, it's been re-recorded as a duet narration. Like, there were so many points. Like, I know that the girlies are going after, I guess at this point is too big to edit, and it was even too big to edit when it got initially picked up, because you don't pick up a book from Kindle Unlimited if you really want to seriously change it. And I think removing some of those scenes would have seriously changed. I don't know if it would have seriously changed it, but I think it would have made it entirely more readable and more enjoyable. And I think you could have kept that first 25% where you had those little moments like the music festival scene or all these other things. And I would have put those in these ugly ass special editions they're putting out now for the 5-year anniversary. I think 5 years is entirely too short to put out special edition books, but Adley LaRue was getting special edition books in the middle of its first hardcover print run. So the rules are made up and the points don't matter. And so that's really what it is. I think that Twisted Games is a slot book. I still really have fond memories of listening to Twisted Love. It was also equally ridiculous. But as much as it wants to say this book is a standalone, a lot of the sort of like foundational like building blocks of their relationship were formed in Twisted Love, and some of the ramifications of one of the major events that gets rehashed in this one. Like, I don't want to say you have to read it, but you kind of have to read it. Like, this book is not a standalone, besties. She's lying to you. Am I going to read Twisted Hate eventually? Probably 100%, just because I already own it. It's already on my Libro account. But I am significantly less enthusiastic about continuing on in the series. Now, I will say that I think it was when I got home from the hotel this morning, when I had a little breaksy, I saw that my Hold on Nightshade by Michael Conley came in. And I did download it, and I will be listening, and we will be talking about it, but that day is not today. Against my better judgment, and this is still how I know I'm trapped in the slot factory, but I'm like, okay, The girlies are going all in on heated rivalry. Let me see what this is about. And against, again, better judgment, because I definitely had seen that the audiobooks for the series were not great, but I didn't know it could be this bad. Like, this man is making this man sound like fucking Eeyore. I mean, this man do have a pathetic life. Kip, I'm sorry, he is pathetic. He is so sad. He's so sad. Like, he should sound like Eeyore, but the fact that he sounds like Eeyore in the middle of these, like, this is another, just like of oaths. I guess I owe any Davenport an apology, because I was sitting there reading the book like, what are we doing? What, I thought we were reading romance. Apologies to Annie Davenport. She ain't the only one writing these, horny as fuck characters, because Rachel Reid is right there with her. Anyway, so I'm reading Game Changers, which is the first book in the series. I'm pretty sure I could have just jumped into heated rivalry and understood everything, but that's not what I do, bestie. It's not what I do. It's never gonna be. I can't even say it's never gonna be me, because 100% read the Michael Connelly universe out of order. I read all the Mickey Holler, and then I went back to the beginning for the Hieronymus and attempted to read in order for the most part, except around like books 10 or so, because I'd never read the poets. I had to skip and go. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I read it out of order and then mostly in order. So I guess I could have done this little out of order, in order thing for this. But they're on Hoopla. It's not like they're going, I guess they could go anywhere. They could go somewhere. I don't think they're going anywhere though. And so I'm listening to Game Changers, and I had seen on the streets, and maybe this was just, somebody being a little silly, haha, fun time. But someone had claimed that this started out as like Steve Rogers, Bucky Barnes fanfic, and far be it for me to accuse the girlies of writing fanfiction, but Game Changers is giving fanfiction. If not, one moment here before Siri interrupts. Even if it wasn't fanfiction, it is formatted, it is executed like fanfiction. Much like I was saying yesterday about Twisted Games, this book does not seem to have any kind of purpose or like experience outside of a character. Not even really a character study. Like, Kip is a fine person. Like, he's a sad little sack who is apparently, I think he's 25. And I want to say Scott is now 28, maybe. They're both in their mid-20s. And Kip does a couple of things. He has a couple jobs. He works at a Jamba Juice-esque place, but it's, Straw and Berry. That's what it is. He works at Straw and Berry. And he also does some, like, cater waiting on the side. And maybe this is me shaking the table. Maybe this is me shaking the table. But Kip is very much giving. And I'm saying this because I had to sit inside. I went and watched The Materialist early this year. But I did go and see The Materialist. And I had to sit through everybody and their mother saying that Chris Evans' character was broke boy propaganda. And we were all being, what are we doing with our lives, that he is broke boy propaganda. And I understand that the Chris Evans character was like a second chance at this. Like, Dakota Johnson had already been with him and was like, maybe not. And now she was allowing herself to be wooed by him again. But Kip is very much giving Chris Evans' character in that movie. Except at least Chris Evans' character had like an aspiration of something that he wanted to do. Like, sure, he was doing plays in what seemed to be rented warehouse, but I don't know, it didn't seem to be even off Broadway. It was just somewhere. But he had like a goal, a dream, or something. He was, living his little cater waiter dream life. But Kip is like, he lives at home. He hates his job as a cater waiter. He hates his job at Straw and Berry. His bestie is like, hey, there's this really good job that you could be qualified for. Even if you're not qualified, why won't you just go after it anyway? Like, shoot your shot. And he's like, no. Like, the fact that Scott Hunter is like dropping everything and plowing this little man is truly something that can only happen in fan fiction. Like, this isn't even like published novel, Matt. Like, this is literal fan fiction. These are two characters I like. I'm gonna throw them together and like, here we go. And also, there isn't even like, doesn't seem to be any kind of like looming thing that is happening, and they're like, we're just like rolling along. Each new chapter is like, oh, I wrote some more besties. I hope you really enjoy this one. And it's fine. Like, it is perfectly serviceable. But I would be lying to you if I said that there is if after everything I said about Twisted Games, that I did not say that Game Changers is significantly better in any material way. Like, it is also sloth. Like, we are, like, this is a trough, and we're here, and, like, it's fine. It's serviceable. It has minimal nutritional value. I can't imagine going feral. I mean, I understand they're going feral over the second book, Heat of Rivalry, that got adapted into the TV show, but I know that Scott and Kit make appearance. I've seen, and I'm not, blind to the internet. I've seen the appearances. They look fine. They look better than the one man that got playing the Russian. That man's ugly as fuck, which is partially why I didn't want to read this. Again, it's not a bad book. It's not like offensive. It's just like, yeah, this is fine. I've read better. I read worse. Like, I can't drag it, but it's like, and again, I do think that the Game Changer series, I don't want to say, I'm not true enough to the genre, whether that be romance or, category like hockey romance more specifically, to be like, ooh, this is the OG, she was pioneering in the streets. But I have seen this series talked about for a long time. Like, this isn't, brand new information to Monty. So I can understand if this were one of the earlier editions. I do think, even though it's just fine, it is one of the stronger ones that I've read, which again is not very many. But for now, that's really all I have to say. Tomorrow, I plan on finishing Game Changers. I might start a Heated Rivalry. I do have another sports romance that I bought recently called See You at the Finish Line. So I might start that tomorrow while I'm at home before I go to work. I have to read that one physically because my libraries don't have an audio copy. But I do own it. So I might just, bust out my Kindle, do some eyeball reading for a change. Maybe, when it's early, I don't want to get out of bed yet, and I can just kind of lay there and wake up slowly. Maybe that's what I'll do. But for now, besties, that's all I got for you. So apologies this video is going up so late, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully if you've read Twisted Games or Game Changers, also another plural, is it Game Changer? No, I think the series is Game Changers. I think the book is just Game Changer, which makes sense. Because if you have a series of male-male romances about hockey guys, they would be Game Changers collectively. And I guess Scott Hunter is like the Game Changer. And I guess Kip by extension, because he's the man that got him to push out of the closet. But for reading 50% of this book, you think I would have read a lot more. Like, there would have been a little bit more progression in the storyline, but not really. So thanks for being here. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. But for now, stay safe, stay hydrated, and bye.